maybe some of you know Mr. Cavagnaro is a person who dedicated most of his life to railways. Now he has been retired, but it is still active on some specific concepts, and especially started this hyperfreight concept, which is a new idea about how railway freight transportation can evolve in the future. He published an article on Ingegneria Ferroviaria on this in 2014, and then is still working on it. As you know, I'm Paolo Umiliacchi. I work mainly in railway standardization and research. Also, I'm collaborating on this hyperfreight initiative. So the starting point is where we are with freight transportation in railways, because as probably you already know, most of the freight transport in Europe is happening through road vehicles, trucks vehicles. So railways have around 17–18% of the market, depending on the year you consider, and inland waterways have also around 7–8%. This means around 75% of freight in Europe is transported by road vehicles. And this seems not to be exactly what the European Union wants to achieve, because in 2011 they published a white paper where it was said that by 2030, which is in about 10 years, 30% of road freight over 300 kilometers should shift to other modes, from road to more environmental friendly modes, which means mainly railways or waterways. But the situation, as you see from the diagram, seems not to go in this direction. In percentage, more or less, the market share between the different transport modes is not changing. So, why this is happening and what to do? To understand why this is happening, why railways are not able to gain more market share, we can think about two main factors. The first one is about the trains. We know that in the passenger train world, we had a very big evolution. We moved from an approach based on locomotive coaches and so on to high-speed trains, which, by the way, have been made possible by new infrastructure which supports such new trains. But in the railway, in the freight railway field, this did not happen. Okay, of course, we have better trains than 50 years ago, but there was not such a big evolution. And as a consequence of this, the current freight trains cannot use the new infrastructure which has been prepared for passenger trains. So there is an increasing gap between the possibilities which are offered to passenger trains and the possibilities for freight transportation. The second point is about the terminals. Terminals also had some evolution, but not so much. In freight transportation, still there is a lot done as in the past, and the operations are very slow, not very efficient. The average commercial speed for freight trains is 18 kilometers per hour. So this explains why logistic operators have a preference for a road, because their loads will leave immediately and will travel when it is needed and will arrive in a much shorter time than by rail. So, in order to change this, of course, research is also in progress. There is a specific innovation program within Shift to Rail, IP5, which deals exactly with freight transportation by rail. And there are a lot of projects which started even before Shift to Rail, which are going in the direction of an evolution of the freight transportation system by rail. But maybe there is a need for something more, a more disruptive change of the approach, a new initiative. And this is where the hyperfreight initiative started. Hyperfreight today is not a product, it is more a concept, and the initiative is intended to have it known, possibly getting some attention by those who can be interested and have the capability to develop something like this. And the hyperfreight concept is based on two technological challenges. The first one is the high-performance train. A new concept for a freight train which is specifically designed for freight transportation in order to achieve a level of performance comparable with that of passenger trains. For example, speeds around 150 kilometers per hour and the capability to transport containers, which means you have to put the containers inside, otherwise it is not possible to have such a thing. So the train includes many innovations. There are many aspects which have still to be investigated in detail, but the general concept has been defined. So we can see that there is a distributed power concept. The locomotive is not a locomotive, it is more like a substation which takes the power and distributes it along the train, where each vehicle has its own power units. So we have this possibility of reaching a very high level of performance because there is no locomotive pulling the train or pushing, but a distributed power system, which means it is very important to control the strength at the connection between individual vehicles. Otherwise, it is very dangerous. But this today, with automation, with capabilities of these computers, can be achieved easily. Another point is the vehicle. The vehicle is also designed in order to maximize the load. There is a main compartment which is able to accommodate a maritime container or even a trailer of a truck. And there are two smaller compartments which can host smaller loads like aviation containers or other, let's say, boxes which can store parcels. And this is interesting because freight transportation by rail can give a contribution to the big freight market of e-commerce, which today is almost completely done by trucks. So this is also an example of how loads can be accommodated within the intermediate vehicles of the train. It's flexible, but anyway, the high performance train concept has no real meaning without the second technological challenge, which is the high performance terminal. It is important to understand that hyperfreight is a system concept. A train and the terminal which perfectly match each other and can achieve a high level of performance in freight transportation, which is impossible today. Especially, it is important to understand the different concepts where freight is prepared when the train is not yet there and can be checked with safety test, so that when the train arrives, it can be unloaded and loaded automatically, because everything is ready to do this. There is no long waiting time as it is today, when freight can wait for the train to leave even half a day or more. But how to achieve this? Especially, it is very interesting how it is conceived, the unloading loading system. As you can see here, the idea is to have the container or something else, like a trailer or a truck, ready on the terminal. When the train arrives, the main compartment is suspended through jacks, so it's slightly lifted, and then the whole thing can go down and have the load becoming free to move horizontally. So the load, the existing load can be unloaded. The new load, which is waiting in the terminal, is put in its place, and then the elevator will put again in place the whole thing in the train, and is connected in a way that it is possible to move it as only one piece. So this is a very original concept, which has no predecessor up to now, and is also a patented concept. A little bit at a larger view, as you can, a wider view can show you that this can happen in parallel for more than one vehicle. You can have 2 or more unloading, loading units in the same terminal. So the work is very much parallelized and automated. Moreover, the loading and unloading of the smaller boxes is done in parallel also at a different level. There is a box handling level, which is at the right height to move boxes very quickly and with minimal effort. And there is a heavy loads handling level, which is what I described before about moving container, trailers and so on. So at the end, the final result will be a completely new concept of terminal, which doesn't look very much like today is, where everything is as much as possible automated, and here the new technologies will be needed, also IoT, big data, artificial intelligence, in order to automate all the operations and to achieve very high performance results in the unloading and loading of freight. So it is supposed that a complete train can be unloaded and loaded in less than 1 hour. And then, and of course it depends on the level of parallelism you achieve, could be even less. And then the train starts, is a high-speed train, 250 kilometers per hour, so it can coexist with passenger traffic in its own slot. And of course, it is obvious that you can think, but high-speed lines are already overcrowded by passenger trains. But new technologies will help, like moving block, virtual coupling, so it will be possible to increase this capacity on existing lines and so achieve a very high-speed freight transportation without building any new infrastructure in terms of rails, which is the most expensive and time-consuming investment today to be done in the country and also in Europe. So this is the hyperfreight concept. Of course, if there are questions or if you wish to know more, this will be possible. And I close reminding that here in Naples, the first railway was built in Italy. It was in 1839, was the Napoli-Portici Railway, 180 years ago, and it was able to reach the fantastic speed for the time of 50 kilometers per hour. So Naples has a very long tradition of railways. Thank you very much.